The United National Party says that it is disappointing to see the manner in which abductions and disappearances have become a common occurrence in the island. Let's take a look at the views expressed by UMP media spokesperson, parliamentarian Ganth Karunatilaka at a media briefing held in Colombo today.
අද වර්තමානයේ මාධ්‍ය ඔස්සේ අපට දැනගන්නට ලැබෙන දේවල් දිහා බලනකොට
when we take into account the various reports that have been published in the media, we can see how the people's freedom have been dragged onto a very dangerous state. The people's freedom is deteriorating day by day. The government is speaking of a better tomorrow for the youth. However, when the youth of the island are attempting to enter politics through democratic means, activists of such political movements are abducted. This trend is disappointing. We remind the government that their primary responsibility is to put a full stop to such incidents.
නතර කිරීම රජයේ ප්‍රධාන වගකීමක් කියන එක අපි මේ අවස්ථාවේදීත් ආණ්ඩුවට මතක් කරනවා.
In related news, several government and opposition MPs also expressed their views about the incident.
Take the case of Kumar Gunaratnam and Dimuthu Atigala. The movement for people's struggle has a right to have their own political opinions and engage in politics. If they have committed wrongs in the past, then they must be dealt with through the law. Who abducted them and where did they take them? Nothing is clear. When you ask the police, they say they do not know. So if the police and the government are unaware about this, then is there a shadow government operating in this country? It is extremely clear that this government possesses a team which abducts people.
ඒක බොහොම පැහැදිලි. දැන් සමහරු හදනවා මේ ශ්‍රී ලංකාව.
Certain individuals are attempting to create a similar situation as witnessed in Syria in this country and destroy the hard-won peace in this island. However, the country is forging ahead with the support and love of the people. Therefore, they fail to even get one individual onto the streets.
ජන අරගල කියනවා අර අරගල කියනවා මේ අරගල කියනවා මේ හැම දෙයක් පිටිපස්සෙම තියෙන කුමන්ත්‍රණ.
There are conspiracies and dollars behind everything.
මේ හැම දෙයක් පස්සෙම තියෙන අපේ හාමුදුරනේ මුදල් සහ පාවා දීම.
Experience news first, wherever you are. Truly an international news network. News First is now available real time on the web. Visit www.newsfirst.lk from anywhere in the world. Watch news live. News First, taking Sri Lanka to the world.
Two separate media briefings were held this morning by political parties, trade unions and a few other organizations to express their stance on the abductions of two members of the Frontline Socialist Party.
We should not forget that the lives of these two individuals were saved due to the pressure exerted on the government locally and internationally. However, 28 others who went missing during the past 2 months are yet to be found. We have a responsibility as a society to safeguard their lives.
අපිට සමාජ වගකීමක් තියෙනවා මේ පුද්ගලයන්ගේ ජීවිතවලට ආරක්ෂාව ලබා දෙන්න. මානව හිමිකම් කඩන
The government has reconfirmed the fact that its rule does not allow any room for people to express their views. Human rights are being violated and there is no room for dialogue.
තත්ත්වය තාවුරු කරන්නේ ආණ්ඩුව.
මේ අත්අඩංගුවට ගත්තේ නැහැ එහෙම එකක් වෙලා නැහැ කියපු අය.
Those who said that there was no arrest should now explain as to what actually happened. If not, they should look into the evidence and establish the fact that there was no abduction or arrest. They will have to prove that these individuals went missing voluntarily.
Welcome back. President Mahinda Rajapaksa participated at a cordial discussion today which was held at the Speaker's official residence to felicitate former parliamentarians who rendered a yeoman service today.
Speaker of Parliament Chamal Rajapaksa, welcoming those present, stated that the felicitation ceremony was organized in view of the Sinhala and Tamil New Year to recognize the service rendered by former parliamentarians. Over 150 politicians who represented Parliament from 1966 to 1977, along with a group of former employees attached to the Parliament, were present at the occasion. President Mahinda Rajapaksa held cordial discussions with those present. The Speaker of Parliament presented mementos to former public representatives and former employees of Parliament at today's event. The 2011 annual report of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka has revealed that the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation incurred an operational loss amounting to 91 billion rupees. The report says that the losses were incurred as a result of the increase in world oil prices and the supplying of fuel at subsidized rates to several organizations. Sales of petrol, diesel and kerosene increased by 15% in 2011 in comparison to the same period in 2010. Meanwhile, fuel prices were increased on 2 occasions last year, parallel to the increase in the price of crude oil globally. By the end of 2011, the price per litre of petrol had increased by 22 rupees, while the price per litre of diesel and kerosene increased by 11 and 20 rupees respectively. Nevertheless, the operational loss of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, which was 27 billion rupees in 2010, increased to 91 billion rupees in 2011. However, the CPC also had debts receivable from various government institutions in 2011 amounting to 115 billion rupees. The Central Bank report also states that during 2011, the amount of bank loans obtained by the CPC increased by 53.3 billion rupees. The central bank says that in light of these developments, increasing the fuel prices recently was the correct decision in order to minimize the effect on the economy. However, the central bank is of the view that instead of revising prices in a manner which would affect economic activity, the ideal measure would be to follow a price amendment policy.
When it comes to the government organizations and their performance, we can see that most of the organizations, they are continually earning losses. The government attention should be given to those ministries, and the government should take prompt actions, analyze the reasons for earning this much of losses, and they have to take, proper action to eliminate some of the losses. I mean, that doesn't mean that we have to recover the losses by increasing the prices or whatever, and ultimately transferring the burden to the final customers. Maybe sometime the government need to take some actions to prevent frauds and wastings and so on and so forth.
Let's now take a look at today's newspaper cartoon of the day, selected from among today's English newspapers.
The Communist Party of India has expressed its concern over the plight of Tamils in Sri Lanka and has urged the Indian central government to make all necessary political and diplomatic efforts to seek their rehabilitation and resettlement swiftly.
India's Hindu newspaper reported that through a resolution adopted at the 20th Party Congress, the Communist Party of India said that their government should ensure that the Sri Lankan government conducts an independent inquiry into the alleged human rights violations. The Communist Party of India noted that Tamils in the north and east of Sri Lanka suffered heavy losses during the final stages of the war. The Hindu reports that the CPI charged that the Sri Lankan government had not fully undertaken resettlement and rehabilitation of those affected even after 3 years have lapsed since the end of the conflict. The CPI also states that Tamils in Sri Lanka can live with dignity only when there is a political settlement and appeal to all democratic forces in Sri Lanka to ensure a political solution to the Tamil question.
A program was held in Colombo today to create awareness amongst the diplomatic community about the National Mine Action Program. This was held with the participation of Minister of Economic Development, Basil Rajapaksa.
Many dignitaries, including the United Nations resident coordinator in Sri Lanka, Subine Nandi, were present at the occasion.
While mine clearance activities are paramount, it is equally important to sustain support to mine risk education and victim assistance, as well as to mine action management. Sri Lanka has experienced firsthand the human sufferings caused by landmines and explosive remnants of war, and continues to face the consequences of its use. It would be an international significance if Sri Lanka added its name to the list of countries renouncing these weapons and would strengthen Sri Lanka's position as a regional and world leader in mine action.
Meanwhile, the official website of the National Mine Action Programme was launched by Minister of Economic Development Basil Rajapaksa at the occasion.
One of the best ways of building ties between communities is to let students help each other and interact with one another. This is the story of one such group of students who took this idea and made it happen.
Welcome to the RCTM school in Aleveti, Jaffna. This school and 3 others like it were among the worst affected during the 3-decade-long conflict against the LTTE. Yesterday, this school was given a new lease of life by a group of students who, together with the army, managed to rebuild these schools. We were displaced. I would like to thank the army for providing us with shoes and stationery.
We had certain fundraisers like a fashion show, bake sales, non-uniform days, and we raised 750,000 together with sponsorships. This experience made us really humble, and most of all, we thank the army for all their help. Without them, we wouldn't have been able to do this.
UNP media spokesperson parliamentarian Gayantha Karunatilaka states that the United National Party celebrates the May Day at one single location.
එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයේ කෘත්‍යාධිකාරී මණ්ඩලයේ රැස්වුණු අවස්ථාවේ මෙවර මැයි දිනය යාපනයේදී පැවැත්වීමට
The UNP Working Committee decided to conduct this year's May Day celebrations in Jaffna. A committee comprising Joseph Michael Pereira was appointed to look into organizing activities, and they are now engaged in preparation work. Usually, the UNP organizes its May Day celebrations at one single venue. Since the death anniversary of late President Premadasa falls on the 1st of May, the Premadasa Memorial is also being held throughout the years.
ගුණානුස්මරණ දිනයත් මැයි 1 වෙනිදාට යෙදී තිබෙන නිසා කොළඹදී ප්‍රේමදාස ගුණ සමරුව පැවැත්වීමත් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් වසර ගණනක සිට ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා.
A public awareness campaign was held in Colombo today in view of the upcoming 19th death anniversary of President Ranasinghe Premadasa. The campaign was organized by the Movement for the Protection of the UNP.
The Ranasinghe Premadasa Memorial Committee also participated in the leaflet distribution campaign. The Movement for the Protection of the UNP says that on the 1st of May at 1 p.m, the procession will commence at White Park near Ananda College in Maradana and will then proceed to the statue of Ranasinghe Premadasa in Halsdorf.
දුප්පත් ජනතාවගේ හදවතට කතා කරපු නායකයෙක්
Ranasinghe Premadasa was a leader who spoke to the hearts of the poor people. He fell victim to a cruel LTTE terrorist bomb when engaging in the procession. Today, Ranil Wickremesinghe has forgotten this when organizing the May Day procession. He destroyed the UNP voter base by not assisting in the war. We make an appeal to you now to join in the commemoration of Ranasinghe Premadasa on the 1st of May and help us to form a strong UNP government.
අපි සකස් කරමුයි කියන එක ඉල්ලීම අපි මේ අවස්ථාවේදී ඉතා ඕනකමින් ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා. අපි වැඩ කරන ජනතාව
We came here to Petha, where the working population gathers, because we wanted to send a message to the people who are leaving for their villages and homes, for those who would like to have a dream of a government which can release them from their hunger and the thievery and thuggery of the current government. We came here to Petha today to invite them to Halsdorf on the 1st of May to commemorate our Premadasa.
එක්වන්නේ කියලා අපි ආරාධනය කරන්නට අද පිටකොටුවට පැමිණලා ඉන්නවා.